98.5, the Sports Hub.
Abreu can end it right here. High fly ball left field. Goodbar back to the wall. It is off the green. Here comes the run. Bregman will score. And the Red Sox walk it off. They win it 5-4 and 10. What a comeback today.
And this one to left, stopping on the track and just short to end the game is Refsnyder. Austin gets the booms out, they sweep the Cardinals, and they do it in pretty dominating fashion.
We've talked so much the last 3 years about Fenway. Just to start out here with 3 straight wins.
It's important against a good team. That offense is really good. They're relentless. They put the ball in play, they hit it, and the lefties are really good. And obviously, we stole that one in the first game. We put good at bats in the 9th, and then Willie won the game. But that's what we need to do. We've been talking about that for a while. We haven't executed, but it's a good start. Now we have to turn our attention to Toronto. They got their horses going on the mound. We have our guys going too, so it should be fun.
So think of where we were a week ago at this time. Red Sox had lost 3 of 4 to the Texas Rangers. They lost to the Orioles on opening day. They were 1-4 to start the season, and they haven't lost since. 5 in a row now, 6-4 on the season. That's where we'll start tonight on the Baseball Hour. 617-779-0985. It was a good weekend at Fenway Park, and boy, has it been a long time since you could say that. When's the last time they swept a doubleheader and swept a series at home? I couldn't even begin to guess. I should have looked that up today. I didn't, Jimmy. I should know that. But I don't think they've done it very much, not of late.
Especially the last 2 years where they've been under 500 at Fenway Park.
So exactly right. They've had losing records at home. And let me tell you, just about every good Red Sox team that I have ever seen has borderline dominated in that ballpark, because typically the Red Sox build the team to the ballpark. But this is where we're going to start. And I'm going to tell you, by the way, the Blue Jays are in town. That game tonight starts at 6:45 p.m. So at a minimum, you can be with us for the next 45 minutes. We have a lot to get to. The Red Sox victories over the weekend. More importantly, what do the first 10 games mean? What do they show us? What do we take from them? What has sustainability and what does not? Okay, so that's number one. And then number two, Craig Brezlo said something in the press conference to announce the signing of Christian Campbell over the weekend that I do want to touch on, because I think really it was kind of in, I don't know, I heard the comment, I thought it was kind of in poor taste. And when I say poor taste, I don't mean that it was grotesque, or I'll get to it in a minute, but I just thought it was self-promoting and chest-thumping on the part of the Red Sox, and really didn't focus on what the biggest thing is with regard to Christian Campbell and that contract, which we'll get to here momentarily. Wilyer Abreu, Rafael Devers, their performances, all of that. But let me tell you what, 2 things I take from the first 10 games. One is good, one not so good, and I say not so good, I don't think it's sustainable. But the good thing that came from the first 10 games, the Red Sox were 1-4, as I said. They looked like they were staggering a little out of the gate. Certainly Rafael Devers was staggering out of the gate. Garrett Crochet took the mound in Baltimore, went 8 innings. They won the game 3-0. Crochet got them back on their feet. They haven't lost since. Now, the St. Louis Cardinals series, the one that just took place at Fenway Park over the weekend, I take that with a grain of salt. The Cardinals can't pitch. And so, Jimmy Stewart, how do you know when the Red Sox are going to hit during the weekend? What's a good barometer for that? And if you don't have the answer, you can say, I don't know.
That the Cardinals are usually a soft-throwing starter staff, and they've got bearded bullpen guys who don't know where it's going at the end of games.
Okay, so what I would tell you is that as soon as the soft-throwing part is correct, as soon as you see Trevor Story start to smash the ball around the ballpark, it's usually a good indication that the Red Sox are good in for a good weekend, and not because Story is some kind of guy that blows hot and cold, although he does. The real thing is this. Trevor Story's had trouble with velocity since the day he arrived here. So it's an indication to me that you are facing a team that can't strike you out or can't get into the mid to high 90s. So the Cardinals, let's just go over some of the numbers, shall we, from the weekend? Because this is the part that I'd be concerned about if I were a Red Sox fan. Right now, I look at them, and you know what I say about the Red Sox right now? If you bring a team or put a team against them that has bad pitching, the Red Sox are going to clean up.
Good.
They're going to clean up. And a lot of teams have bad pitching. You can get into the playoffs by being that kind of team.
You might have bad pitching also.
You can beat up on bums all year long because your lineup is going to be better than most other teams' lineups. But if you start facing teams that can hit and pitch, I fear you might be in trouble. So, for example, in this series, Trevor Story had 4 hits. He went 4 for 13, which is in the 300s. And his OPS was 973. He had 2 extra base hits. Remember, Story started the whole thing with that home run against the Cardinals in the home opener. That was a good indicator, a good harbinger of what was to come. Rafael Devers in the series. And this is a separate thing, but I pointed out Devers can hit everything when he's right. But you know what he didn't hit in the series in Texas? Velocity. The Rangers repeatedly challenged him with fastballs, and they struck his ass out a lot. Devers in the series, 7 for 11, a home run, 3 extra base hits, and an OPS of 1,800. When Trevor Story comes in at 973, Rafael Devers is probably going to come in over 1,800. And he did. For the series, the Red Sox scored 36 runs. They batted .393. As a team, they hit .393 with an OPS of almost 1,100. And the St. Louis Cardinals, you know where their pitching staff ranks in ERA? 29th. Last time I checked, there were 30 teams in baseball. 29th. Yeah, but Maz, their ERA ranks 29 because they gave up all those runs to us. True. Absolutely true. You know where they rank in strikeouts? 27th. The Cardinals don't have a staff that can blow you away, that can't get up in the mid to high 90s. And when they brought their closer out of the bullpen yesterday, at the end of the first game, he was hitting 100 and 101. You know what the problem was? He couldn't hit the side of a building. So the Red Sox did the smart thing. They waited for him. Now, again, I give the Red Sox credit for that rally. But the fact is they were down 4-2 going into the ninth yesterday when they tied the game. That is not something you can bank on a regular basis. Good teams win late. They sort of develop a knack for it. And the Red Sox have a good enough lineup where we may be able to see some of those this year. But typically you have to beat good pitching with better pitching. And the thing that would concern me the most about the Red Sox thus far is they have pitched poorly, at least in the rotation. The bullpen was really good to start the year. They haven't been good since. The sustainability of the starting pitching should concern you specifically as it pertains to, I almost said Trevor Bauer, Walker Buehler, and Tanner Houck. Those two guys, I think, are the key guys on the team. If you're going against a team like St. Louis, well, then you can win the game 18-7. You can win 12-5. You can win lots of different ways because you can hit. And it looks like they might be able to hit at Fenway Park. But when you go up against a team that can pitch, you're not going to get 18, and you better find ways to win those games. So 617-779-0985. Some guys still going cold on this team. Again, I'm not totally sold on Devers yet. Let's see how it goes in this series. And we'll start with your calls right away here on the Baseball Hour. Again, first pitch not until 6:45 tonight. So stick with us till at least then and beyond. And we'll take your calls. We'll also get to what Craig Brezlo said about Christian Campbell over the weekend. Sean in Colorado. Go ahead, Sean.
Hey, Tony, how are you?
Good.
So one thing I kind of wanted to talk about, Friday night, I didn't get to watch the Sox game because I was in Colorado at the Rockies game. And one thing I noticed a stark difference, granted the Rockies stink, was that something we haven't had in years at Fenway. It seemed like there was an actual fan attendance of Red Sox fans. The building was bumping from the clips I saw from the Trevor Story and Will Abreu home runs. That place looked like it was rocking. It's great to see some fans back. And my one, I guess, practical thing I wanted to say.
Sean, I'm going to ask you to I'm going to ask you to pause for 1 second because before you go on to your second point, let me ask you a follow up to your point about the ballpark. Why do you think? Yeah. Why do you think that is?
It's because they added talent, Tony. They made the team watchable.
Okay. Yep. All right. Go ahead. I want to follow up on that with the listeners, but go ahead. What's your second point?
For sure. My second point is I need to see more Carlos Narvaez instead of Connor Wong. He's just an automatic strikeout right now, and I know the metrics are saying apparently he's 90th percentile framing. Eye test says no. Carlos Narvaez, when he's receiving, looks much more comfortable, and on top of that, he can hit the ball, and Connor Wong absolutely cannot right now.
Yeah, Sean, you're not the first person to say that to me about Narvaez. I think a lot of people feel that way about Narvaez. He's a superior receiver. It's not even close. So here's the point. If Wong is not hitting, bye-bye. See you later. Grab some pine, pick the splinters. When you feel better, come back in and you can play. If Connor Wong doesn't hit, he's useless. And I said this during the offseason. I'm not going to claim that I hit people over the head with it because I didn't. But the catching situation, kind of weak on this team. So Narvaez defensively looks pretty good. Let's keep watching. But I do think it's something you have to watch going forward and for the long term. Remember, they had a catcher in the system. They traded him for Garrett Crochet. I'm not telling you I regret the deal. But let's watch it, see what kind of player Teal turns into. He had a good spring for the White Sox, and the belief in some of the stuff I read coming out of Chicago was that they expect him to be with a big league team quickly. So again, let's see how that goes. Let's see what the cost was on Crochet. Again, I'm not saying I wouldn't have made the deal. An ace pitcher is ultimately more important. But the catching situation on this team kind of sucks. So I don't know if Narvaez will hit. If he does, or if Wong improves defensively and hits, fine, no problem. I do want to get to Craig Brezlo and what he said about Christian Campbell and the atmosphere in the ballpark. Let's touch on that too, because it was definitely different. And I think it says something about what you can sell Red Sox fans and what you can't. Because Sean in Colorado was right. They brought some talent in. The point being, you recognize that it's a legit team. And it wasn't because of anything the Red Sox said. It was because of what they did. That and Brezlo when we come back.
sharing what I would call a massively significant moment for this organization, because Christian was not drafted in the first round. He wasn't a top prospect upon entering the organization. What he was a good player who made himself a great player because of his work ethic and diligence and open-mindedness and attitude. And so in many ways, he is a prime example of what's possible when great scouting meets great development around a player who prioritizes maximizing his potential over everything else. And so there are so many people in this organization who should feel particularly proud about their contributions to Christian's development, from our major league staff all the way down to hitting coaches in A-ball and the entire player development and scouting groups.
It's Craig Brezlo on Christian Campbell over the weekend. The Red Sox announced the 8-year, $60 million contract that, again, could be worth much more than that. I think he can get up to $96 million if he meets some incentives, what have you. But let me just tell you what bugs the crap out of me about that whole sort of answer. Okay, and then it leads to a bigger picture topic. But Christian Campbell, according to Brezlo, Craig Brezlo, was not a quote-unquote top prospect when he was selected by the team in the 4th round. True. But his development into a guy that the Red Sox are now pumping as a Rookie of the Year candidate, and they are pumping as a top prospect. In other words, he became one quickly because of his open-mindedness and his attitude. This is what happens when great scouting meets great development. I feel like the whole thing was the Red Sox taking credit for turning Christian Campbell into a great player. And this is the part that bugs me. One, don't start pumping yourself up when you've done it once, and the kid's been here 10 games. So we're not even sure yet that he is a star player of any kind. We think he is. It's been 10 games. But we don't know yet. Secondly, during spring training and here in the early part of the year, you know what I keep hearing from the Red Sox? About his athleticism, his gifts. Lou Maloney on the broadcast has been talking about the bat speed, and I'm not lumping Lou Maloney in with the organization. The point is that he has some God-given gifts. Have they maximized them? Yes. Do they deserve some credit for it? Yes. But when they start talking about it all the time, it makes me feel like they're taking credit for it and not giving it to the kid. Campbell is the player. And his offensive development has been more than anyone expected. Defensively, we really don't know yet. So part of him has developed rapidly. He still needs time in the field. And again, let's not undersell his athleticism. The reason why he was able to do these things is because he's a gifted athlete. You can tell a lot of people who have open minds and good attitudes to change, but they can't do it because they're not skilled enough or they're not gifted enough. So that's number one. Secondly, just quickly, Sam Kennedy had a comment in general over the weekend as well. And the Red Sox announced a couple of big signings. One was Campbell, one was Garrett Crochet. Okay, I think this cuts relatively quick, but this is Kennedy on Craig Brezlo.
I just want to say what an incredible offseason Craig Brezlo has had. He's been extraordinary. I think we need to get him and Kelly on a vacation sometime soon.
Okay, so Craig Brezlo gets a little love from Sam Kennedy. Jimmy, why do you think the Red Sox would do? Why would Kennedy do that?
To make sure that people know that, look, it's Craig Brezlo who did all this. When in reality, we know that it was Theo Epstein who did all of this.
Okay, or at least this is what people wonder. And I think that this is something they're worried about over there, because there was a story by Jim McCaffrey early on when they signed Bregman that Brezlo consulted with Theo Epstein on the Bregman contract because it was a unique deal And Epstein advised him. I would guess the same thing with Campbell and maybe even Crochet. And so they want to be careful that they don't paint the picture of Craig Brezlo being some sort of mannequin, for lack of a better word, or puppet that has to run to Theo every time he needs advice.
But that's actually what happened. And that's not, this is Jen McCaffrey of The Athletic, a real, actual Big J journalist, reporter. She doesn't throw hot takes in there. She's well researched. So it was Theo. Theo's behind all of it. And oh, by the way, Tony, to emphasize that point even more, isn't it interesting that they go out and they spend money and they get good, talented players when Theo Epstein is back as part of the organization? Interesting how that works, isn't it?
Yeah, so I would also say that they tried to sign guys last year and Brezlo couldn't close the deal. So they tried a year ago.
Well, Theo pushes back on ownership, something that Sam doesn't do, something that Chaim Bloom didn't do, something that last year Craig Brezlo did not do. So now Theo Epstein is in a position where he's got John Henry's ear, and look at what they did. They made moves, they spent money, and look at the excitement that comes. This is what happens when you invest in talent. You have an electric ballpark of Red Sox fans, not St. Louis Cardinals fans or Tampa Rays fans or Blue Jays fans.
So I think they're still grooming Brezlo, is what I'm getting at.
Well, he was the 12th guy.
And they are just making it clear that he is capable because they want all of you to know it. So you tell me, how much credit do you give to Brezlo? And I'm talking to you, the fan now.
2%.
How much credit do you give to Brezlo, and do you believe in him? Because I don't yet. Now, again, the organization is something different. But how much of Brezlo do you believe in?
2%.
I am still, Jimmy says 2%, so we can call him low-fat milk. I am skeptical. Okay, I still think, and again, he might get there. I don't think he's there yet. I'll take a couple of calls. Nick's in Bradford on Tristan Casas. Good, Nick.
It's there to turn the lights
Hey, Tony, what's going on? I wanted to call in to really just set the level straight with Red Sox fans. I think people are getting way too ahead of themselves about how good this team is or what their ceiling is. Let's not forget they were down 2 runs in the bottom of the ninth. Like, it's not something that they were miles ahead. They got lucky that the guy was crapping himself on the mound. That's point one. Point two, I think Tristan Casas has kind of flew under the radar in terms of criticism from Red Sox fans over the course of this past week. He's not been hitting it either, and as far as I'm concerned, this guy is supposed to be the future of the Red Sox. I frankly don't see it, but I kind of want your opinion on that.
So, look, we've seen it in flashes, Nick, with Casas. He has hit. At the end of the 2023 season, second half of that year, he was excellent. Excellent. So then he got hurt. Now, I would say that a lot of his momentum with Casas, a lot of the momentum has been disrupted by injuries and whatnot. So he started to get better. Let's see. He had the 1 year where he missed some time. Was that in 20? I don't remember. I'm going to get them all mixed up. I think he missed the first half of 2023, came back at the end of the second half of that year and played well. And then he had the odd injury last year that knocked him out for half the season when everyone was expecting, some sort of run at the MVP award. So, look, I think Casas is a better player than he has shown. But Christian Campbell just blew right by him. I mean, it's not even close. Now, again, I think Casas is better than he has shown. So we'll get a better look at that as we go. I see a couple of you on the line. Sit tight. We'll get to your calls when we come back. Again, 617-779-0985. We have a couple of open lines. I want to get to Wilyer Abreu, who does relate to Craig Brezlo in another capacity too. Let's not forget that Brezlo inherited a lot of these young guys. In fact, all of them. Campbell, Marcelo Meyer, Kyle Teal, Tristan Casas, and Wilyer Abreu. Boy, what a weekend he had. We'll get to that when we come back. Kevin Majori's got your headlines.
why he's the Gold Glover out there, and that's why the numbers, when it comes to defense, play in his favor. Base hit a slow shot to right field. You're thinking if you're Newbar, no chance that is going to get you. Yet the arm of Abreu, precise and a rocket right to third.
To lose. No, I don't. No, I don't. They're more interesting when they win. They're more interesting when there are stakes for the team, when there's something at stake and there's a championship in the potentially in the offing or the playoffs or what have you. I'm not saying this is a championship team, but what I'm telling you is the more that you can win, the more interesting that they are. That is what it is. And when I say the more that you can win, whatever your ceiling is, the higher the ceiling, the greater the stakes, the better the story. That's what it is. So we always want good teams, but we want them to also have flaws. We want the chase. That's what we want. And when I say we, I mean those of us on the media side of it, certainly on the talk side of it. The chase is what the story is. The chase. And last night, for a team that sucked defensively and gave up so many outs and unearned runs, last night, the Red Sox made a couple of plays and saved them some runs. One was that play right there by Wilyer Abreu. He's really a story unto himself. Acquired for Christian Vasquez by Chaim Bloom. Remember him? Abreu's doing everything right. Average, power, defense, you name it. That throw last night, I'll tell you what I liked about that play, is that it was well executed on multiple levels. First of all, if you didn't see it, it was a dribbler into right field. Abreu charged the ball out of the gate from the get-go. He didn't half-ass it. He charged the ball from the gate, knowing the runner was probably going to try to go to third. And he was right. So he fielded it in such a way that he was able to pick it up, throw it, basically all in one motion. The throw was a dart. That is ability, but the accuracy, certainly give him credit for that. And also, watch Bregman on the play. Bregman is, I use the word quiet. You can call it a decoy. You can call it whatever you want, but didn't react in any kind of way that would give the base runner any sort of indication that the throw was coming. The coach, that's the coach's job. So the runner knew, but Bregman was just waiting for the ball. Didn't move about, didn't dart back and forth, didn't tap his feet, just waited. And then the throw was so damn perfect that all Bregman had to do was pretty much drop his glove. And the guy slid right into it. Excellent play. The other one, the Red Sox picked a runner off second base in the first inning. It looked like Hunter Dobbins on the mound was going to have a hard night. He was in trouble right out of the chute. So they were talking up his velocity, stuff like that. Dobbins throws the ball reasonably hard, mid-90s last night. Got up into the high 90s apparently in spring training. But the ball was straight, and the Cardinals were on it. So they called for a pickoff from the dugout. And then Narvaez signaled Dobbins by placing his mitt face down. Story broke for the bag. Dobbins spun, fired. They caught him completely naked out there, and they got him easily. It was a big rally killer. But they executed it. Everybody was on the same page, and they didn't throw the ball into center field. So some good defense that we're not accustomed to seeing. They've been garbage for 3 years, 500 or not. In this market, 500 is garbage. And they haven't been able to execute the most basic things. Yesterday, they won a game by working a pitcher who couldn't find the strike zone. They laid off. They let him walk the bases loaded. Then they hit the ball all over the place at night, but they made a couple of defensive plays that ended threats, too. So that's complete winning baseball. Now they just have to pitch in the rotation. Martin in Texas on Walker Buehler. Go ahead, Martin.
Hey, Tony. I just wanted to say that given the fact that they're Walker Buehler 20, it's like between 20 and 25 million or whatever for this year. If he doesn't outperform any other guys and he's the worst guy in the rotation when Giolito and Brian Bale come back, shouldn't they take him out of it regardless of how much they're paying him if he's being outperformed by everybody else?
They should, but they won't. I mean, what they'll do is it'll be about roster control. So Sean Newcomb obviously is a candidate to go. Let's see how Fitz does tonight. You could, I presume he has options left. You could send him back to the minor leagues. So let's see. It's early in the year. They're not going to quit on someone this early, particularly a veteran guy. But in theory, yes. Now, the deal is only 1 year, but they're not going to demote Buehler. They're in it for the long haul. The Red Sox know they have a pretty good team. And I keep saying pretty good because that's what it is. It's a pretty good team. It's not a very good team. It's not a great team, at least not yet. But it has a chance to get there. So that's good. But, keep it in your pants a little bit. Let's not get too crazy when they beat up a pitching staff that was throwing 93 miles an hour all weekend. John in the car. John, what do you got?
Tony, can I call Brezlo skim milk? Because I think he's got 0% to do with these teams, other than handing them the pen to sign the contract. But is it bad that I'm at least happy they're signing who they're identifying, whether they work out or not? We can't read the future, obviously, but if you like Crochet, you like Campbell, go lock them up, go get them. At least a bad decision is better than no decision, which is what they've been doing for the last 5 years. Has been driving everybody crazy.
I would agree.
And then, Tony, lastly, can we pull the reins back on the fans being back? It was April 4th. All the kids are still in school. It's miserable out. We're going to have 11 straight days of this weather. I am sure the tourists will be back, and if this team begins to win, the Pink Hats will join them, and the same pain-in-the-ass people that are in the stadium will be there instead of the ones that should be.
So, John, you raise an interesting question. Like, who would you rather have, the Pink Hats or the out-of-towners? I'll take the Pink Hats, I think. Let me think about that. The Pink Hats kind of just sit there on their hands with their pink earmuffs and, and again, the whole 9 yards. But the out-of-towners, as much as they don't own the ballpark, they are loud, they're engaged, like there's energy with the out-of-towners. The Pink Hats, they're all just kind of there for the hell of it.
They're taking selfies for Instagram.
So the one thing, though, is when the out-of-towners are in the ballpark, I think that's an indication or a symptom of your team really sucking. So here's what I'll say, John. I was not completely, put it this way. If the Red Sox did not give you a legit product, if they didn't invest into the roster and have the convergence of both youth coming up from the minor leagues and a trade acquisition like Garrett Crochet and a free agent like Alex Bregman, if they didn't have all those things happening, I'm not sure that they would have sold out opening day. Jimmy, am I nuts to think that wasn't a given?
It's not a given.
I just think people have lost enough. If they were going to give you another 500 team this year, I wouldn't have blamed you if you didn't go to the opener. I wouldn't have gone. I mean, I didn't go anyway, but you get the idea. Like, no way. So what it is, it's direct. The energy in the ballpark is directly proportional or related to the fact that they have a real team. That's what because you know the same thing, and this is what I was saying earlier. The Red Sox can say whatever they want at the press conferences or in the releases. They can do all that stuff. If the team isn't convincing, the product is not convincing, and I mean on paper before they even play a freaking game. If they don't have a Bregman and they don't have a Crochet and a Devers, you're looking at it going, why should I go again? Because I don't see it. This team kind of sucks. That's what your instincts would be. They've started over at Fenway Park. Can I just tell you that Ceddanne Rafaela made an absolutely fabulous catch on the first play of the game. Ball driven to the base of the wall in right center field. I'm assuming that was George Springer, Jimmy, who was up at the plate for the Blue Jays. I'm guessing he's the leadoff hitter. I don't have the lineup in front of me. And what a terrific catch by Rafaela. I thought this ball was going to, you don't see a right fielder go that far over and make that, a center fielder go that far over and make that kind of play.
I think I've seen Damon do it.
That was a terrific catch.
Maybe Coco Crisp.
Well, so I was going to say, Jimmy, typically a guy who throws right-handed would have a better chance at that play because the glove's on his left hand. So you're not going to see many center fielders get to that spot in right center field and make that catch.
It was okay.
That was a hell of a play.
It was okay.
Rick in Cleveland. Go ahead, Rick.
Mid.
Tony, how you doing?
Good.
I have a very simple question.
I hope I have a simple answer.
You will.
All right. I wonder if you do. I'm interested. Who right now holds the single-season home run record in baseball?
Barry Bonds.
Okay.
Why?
Does that mean anything to you? And the fact that it does or doesn't, does that reveal any deeper problems, not with baseball, but with Major League Baseball?
Yeah, so
as a league?
Rick, it's an interesting question. Is that a trick question by you?
No, not a trick question at all.
Okay. So, because I thought, I didn't know if you were expecting me to say Hank Aaron, because that would have been the instinct. But Bonds broke the record, as we all know. And I'll tell you what, this is an interesting little diversion, so I'll play along. Over the weekend, Alex Ovechkin set the record for most goals in NHL history with his 895th, breaking the record held by Wayne Gretzky. I thought it was kind of cool. When Barry Bonds did it, it was met with a great deal of scrutiny because of the steroid era. And I would say as a result, to get back to the caller's initial point, the Major League home run record, career and single season, has lost a lot of luster. The single season home run record and the career home run records in baseball used to be sacred things that prompted national coverage when there was a pursuit, much in the same way that this Ovechkin pursuit did. And when I say national coverage, as much as hockey can give it, ESPN was updating the Ovechkin pursuit daily, pretty much. And, they'd come in with highlights or break in with highlights. They wouldn't go in live. I mean, it's hard to predict a goal in hockey the way it is in at-bat in baseball. But there was a definite buzz around that record. I think in the home run record, it's gone. And I don't think it's coming back anytime soon. So the steroid era ruined that. The sacred records in baseball were destroyed. And that was one of the things the game had going for it, and now it's gone. And the steroid era has forever tainted that. I don't think that's going to change. So, but Bonds holds the record. Bonds holds both. Single season and career home run record. There are others in baseball and others, but I mean, I say others, I mean other records that are still worthy. So I don't know. Maybe we'll try to do something on that later in the week. Anyway, don't go anywhere. We'll wrap it up with your calls, and we'll also get to Rafael Devers' weekend and what that means when we come back in the baseball hour.
Foster.
Just a matter of time only before he gets it in the air. There's been a ton of hard contact. One hoppers through the infield. We said he kind of had his spring training here now the first week, and now we're starting to see some hard contact. That one in the air, driven to left field.
That was a bullet. Out of here in the blink of an eye. Raffy gets to wear the Wally head for the first time on the young season.
Home run, 3 RBI. Home run, 3 extra base hits. OPS over 1,800. Red Sox now go up against the Blue Jays. And Toronto has loaded the bases in the first inning on 2 walks and a catcher's interference. And Alejandro Kirk just flew out to left field to end the inning. But terrific play by Ceddanne Rafaela to lead off the game. First pitch of the game, ball hit into deep right center field. And Wilyer Abreu didn't take a great angle on it, so the ball was kind of over his head. He was obviously running towards the gap. Rafaela took a much better angle and ended up, he made a sliding catch. I just tweeted this out. Kevin Majori sitting next to me now. I said to Jimmy Stewart, Rafaela made a sliding catch in right center field and ended up in front of the bullpen door where the Red Sox pitchers come out, obviously when they're entering the game from the bullpen. I can't remember many plays at Fenway Park where the center fielder caught the ball and ended up on the ground in front of that door. Like, that is a long way to go. Bo Bichette was the batter. Earlier I said I didn't know if it was George Springer. It was Bo Bichette, who does hit the ball to right center field. So it's not unusual for guys to hit the ball out in that area, but it's unusual for a center fielder to make that play as far over as Rafaela did. So anyway, we were talking about defense earlier and the Red Sox saving some runs. They may have saved some there, too, as the first batter of the game. But as it turned out, Fitz walked a couple guys. It was a catcher's interference. Jays loaded the bases. He got out of it by getting Springer to fly out to left field. Or maybe Springer was the one with the catcher's interference. Whatever. You get the idea. It was Kirk who flew out to left. So anyway, that's it. Kevin Majori will get you caught up on your headlines here. I was going to say we have a guest tomorrow, but we don't, Jimmy, do we? It's just
we have a short show tomorrow.
Short show tomorrow because of the Bruins game right here on 98.5. But the baseball hour will be back at 6 p.m. We'll see you then.
From the Town Fair Tire Studios is